还有很多人家里都会有的那一种小罐的瓦斯罐，真的没有想到掉下来这么危险。这是今天下午1点多 ，AI 教父黄仁勋的爱店花娘小馆就发生这样的爆炸意外，就是在这个厨房的层架上面，让卡式炉所使用的瓦斯罐不知道为什么掉了下来，引发爆炸，结果造成了员工4肢多处烧烫伤。
中午用餐尖峰时间，顾客和店员却匆匆忙忙逃离餐厅。过没几分钟，救护车随即赶到现场，因为这里发生爆炸，酿成1人受伤。所谓事发地点在台北市松山区知名的餐厅，同时也是 AI 教父黄仁勋的爱店花娘小馆。这一回会在营业时间发生意外，警消初步调查跟小瓦斯罐有关系。 根据了解，13号下午1点多，30岁的男员工原本正在厨房工作，当时层架上存放着卡式瓦斯炉使用的小瓦斯罐，突然间因为不明原因掉落，导致瓦斯罐撞击到地面，加上现场有火源，才会引发爆炸。而这么一炸，酿成男员工双手双脚多处烧烫伤，意识清楚，被紧急送医治疗。
发生严重的火灾是不容易的，因为除了他把那个头摔断了，或是那个有卡住，然后一直持续的释放出里面的气体，就是主要是丁烷为主，然后旁边刚好有火源，然后而才会产生燃烧。
除了使用上要特别注意之外，该如何存放也有 mega。如果把瓦斯罐放在明火附近，火源散发的辐射热会在短时间之内把瓦斯罐加热到极限，可能会引发连环气爆。另外，瓦斯罐的阀门或是橡胶垫圈有时会有微量外泄，肉眼难以察觉。扩散的瓦斯一旦接触到火星或是环境达到燃点，都有可能会引燃。
Some of my favorite ecosystem partners.
花娘小馆的灵魂佳肴苍蝇头成功虏获黄仁勋的胃，不止几乎每次来台必吃，更在 GTC 大会上纳入供应链背板，如今却因为爆炸意外登上媒体版面。东森新闻高本利、尤雅欣、陈义正、杨欣怡台北采访报道。
We have so much to tell you, and I have so many partners to thank. It is incredible how large our ecosystem in Taiwan has become. Most of the time, when people think about ecosystem, they think about our software stack. They think about the developer ecosystem above the computing systems that NVIDIA builds. But NVIDIA's ecosystem spans all the way upstream to all of our supply chain here in Taiwan, where it all begins, and downstream all the way to data centers and eventually to end users. Today, we're going to talk about almost all of the ecosystem. There's so many people to thank. I love my ecosystem here. I mean, there's so many companies here, and some of my favorite ecosystem partners. So many. Taiwan's rich ecosystem, the richest ecosystem, the world's best supply chain ecosystem. Unbelievable. Well, thank you all for being here. And this year, our businesses together are growing incredibly. In fact, somebody told me last night that the annual GDP of Taiwan is going to grow almost 10%. Unbelievable. Well, we have a lot to talk about. Let's get going. 2 years ago, when I was here, I started to talk to you about how AI has moved from generative AI and the other waves of AIs that are coming. The next wave of AI was agentic AI. And today, we can say that agentic AI has arrived, that useful AI has arrived. Now, what does this mean? This is GitHub. This is, of course, one of the first applications of agentic AI is software coding, one of the most valuable professions. Incredibly large ecosystem, 30 million, 40 million professional software developers, probably another couple of hundred who are students and enthusiasts and so on and so forth, but say 30, 40 million software developers in the world code for a living. And this represents most of them. This is GitHub. The pull request is when they download software, they modify it, and commit is when they push it back up. Okay, and so if you could look at this, in 2023, the number of commits was 300 million. 2024, 400 million. 2025, 500 million commits. In the first few months of 2026, it has nearly tripled. Now, what does that mean? 30 million software developers representing about $3 trillion worth of GDP, producing that's what they're paid, $3 trillion worth of salaries per year, which is generating economic growth for the rest of the industries. Say $100 trillion of the world's industries is generated by $3 billion worth of salary. That $3 trillion worth of salary is now producing nearly 3 times as much output. It's effectively a $9 trillion productivity from $3 trillion of salaries. Does that make any sense? The difference is absolutely extraordinary. This is the potential. This is the promise of AI. The number of engineers, software engineers, is actually increasing. People talk about AI reducing jobs. Complete nonsense. It's causing more software engineers to be hired, and the reason for that is very simple. If you can hire a software engineer and you could generate $9 trillion worth of productive work, why wouldn't you want to hire more software engineers? If that line was flat, then obviously people will hire fewer software engineers. But because the output is so incredible, people want to hire more software engineers. This is going to show up in our economy somehow soon. And so the first thing is useful AI has arrived. Now, what does that mean from the industry's perspective? From the industry's perspective, that means that tokens are now in extraordinary demand. Because if you could do this, you're going to want to produce more of it. And because tokens are now profitable units, tokens are now profitable units of revenues. Because it is now profitable, the AI companies want to build a lot more tokens, generate a lot more tokens, build more AI factories, which is the reason why compute demand here in Taiwan has skyrocketed. It is precisely the reason why all of you are so busy and your businesses are doing so well. In fact, that looks like some of your stock price. The compute pattern has changed. Everything has changed. So the first idea is that useful AI has arrived. AI is now a profit generator. AI is now a GDP generator. Behind it is a whole new kind of computing pattern. Not just a large language model, but an agent. Today, almost everything we're going to talk about is going to be based on this. So let me take a quick moment and show you what I'm talking about. This is an agent. It's an agent application. In the old days, this would be application, this would be code, and this would be operating system. Application, code running inside an application, inside an operating system. Today, it is agent, which consists of a large language model or many sitting inside a harness, and that harness helps it, orchestrates it to do productive work. This is the input. When that input comes, it has to understand, observe, reason, act, use tools. That tool could be a spreadsheet, web browser, a data processing engine, database engine, for example. This is orchestrated, this harness orchestrates this routing of information every single time it touches either processing the context, understanding what is happening, reasoning about what to do, coming up with a plan that it acts on. That orchestration path is orchestrated by some software. And so this is fundamentally an agent. It deals with short-term memory, called working memory, long-term memory, just like we do, we have long-term memory. And so the memory management system is incredibly important. This entire system is called an agent. The large language model is used to do the thinking, and the harness connects everything together, just like an operating system, okay? And so this is the new computing model, and this is what an agent. It could do incredible things. This is the big breakthrough. The simultaneous convergence of large language models that are now able to do a really good job thinking, reasoning, planning, using tools, and the fact that we have now these harnesses that manages memory, the orchestration, uses tools, we can now do amazing things. Let me give you some example. This is a prompt. This is the prompt. This is the code that is generated, and this comes out. This is the input. This is the input, and that's the output. What do you guys think? It's pretty amazing, right? We use Claude Code here, but CodeExit does an incredible job as well. Here's another example. This is the input. Create a GIF, NVIDIA green dots on black scatter, form Taiwan 101 building, morph to GTC Taipei 2026, morph to NVIDIA I logo, then scatter and repeat, right? So you saw that. That was the prompt. Here's the next one. I lost my remote control battery clip. It looks like this. Create a CAD file. It uses a tool, create a CAD file, ready for 3D printing to create a new one. Make sense? This is now the new computing pattern. Whereas we used to launch an application, click and type, we now replace that with explaining to the AI what we want, our intent, and the AI generates the code or uses tools and produce the necessary output. This is how computers are going to work in the future. This is agentic AI. For 2 years, we've been building towards this, and now it has arrived. Now, one of the big breakthroughs, of course, is tool use. A lot of people have said, you know, Jensen, AI is coming, agentic AI is coming, therefore all of the software companies are going to go out of business. I said, it's exactly the opposite. Because there are going to be so many agents, the world is no longer limited by the number of people. Therefore, those agents are going to use more tools than ever. This is actually an incredible time to be a software company. But the software has to be presented to the agent in a way that the agent can use it. This is a big breakthrough. And in fact, what we have done, as you know, what NVIDIA's treasure is all of our CUDA libraries. I call them CUDA-X libraries. This is NVIDIA's treasure. Today, we're able to now present these CUDA-X libraries to agents who can use it much more effectively than even humans. And so this is a wonderful time for CUDA-X libraries. Let's take a look. 20 years ago, we built CUDA, a single architecture for accelerated computing. We reinvented computing. 1,000 CUDA-X libraries help developers make breakthroughs in every field of science and